I think there's all... Okay, the opening scene makes more sense now. That's literally what she does with her tongue in the opening dance. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back with another episode of the Apothecary Diaries. Of course, first things first, we have a board. Bring that up here. See if I can get a little bit more in the screen. There we go. And as per, we have our board changelog. I have added Basin, or Bason. I don't actually know how to say his name, because I don't remember having heard it off the top of my head. Connected Basin to Jinshi with a green line. We added Surin, the old lady who's washing his back. Connected Surin to Jinshi with a green line. We added Li Shu, connected Li Shu to the Emperor with a purple line. We added Adu, or it's Adao, probably Adao. Connected Adao to the Emperor with a purple line. Added Kanan, connected Kanan to Li Shu with a green line. You don't remember. Sorry, there's something I always want to address, because it seems to me that if I was watching the show or if I was watching my own reaction, I'd be like, how do you know who Kanan is? There's two things that I do. You know what, let me finish. There's only like one more note here, and then I'll just tell you this. I added Fang Ming to the board, and I connected Fang Ming to Adu with a green line. Right? I know I've said this many times when I regard the board, so I'm going to say this another time. First step, I go to behind the voice actors, which gives me an image and a name for every character that has voice lines, obviously. So, without any context, as that contains zero spoilers, I get the names of the characters that I can visually see. And something else that I do is I go to the Apothecary Diaries wiki. Now, I do not read spoilers on that wiki. What I do is I go to the episode, and the episode just has like a paragraph summary of what happened there. But just like the Jujutsu Kaisen wiki, what they also have is characters appearing in the episode, and they put them in italics if it's the first time this character has been seen on screen. So I can say, here's a list of characters, here's the characters on behind the voice actors, boom, boom, done. So, no spoilers involved. Everybody who's ever seen me on this channel should know I'm fervently anti-spoiler. So that's the only reason why I have a name for some of these people. Alright, on to notes. And I have to think there's something about how stressed out I am about the new medications I'm going to be going on that has made me super note-taking for some reason. So I have a lot of notes, is what I'm trying to say. I suppose the revelation that the freckles were fake, painted on makeup after the fact, put my comment from last episode about the opening in a different light. I was asking before if it was possible that she wanted to make or to be a courtesan based on the trading of hands of the light scene, in which she becomes that person when the light trades palms from one to the other. I don't think it ever occurred to me to question the fact that Maomao, that is dancing and is all dressed up, doesn't have freckles. I also guess that another interpretation of the light, as opposed to a dream, like I said before, would be the light of day, as in uncovering the truth of who she could be. So, again, I might be failing on the whole herbalism, horticulture element of like the flowers and the plants that appear in the opening. But there's still so much to analyze when it comes to who Maomao is and the trading off of the light and the return back to reality in the opening. I'm not sure how informed the opinion was that said that Jinshi might possibly be the Emperor's bodyguard, but the fact that he has a hand in matters of military via the episode where he handled the possible poisoning of troops and their response to a village and has been shown now having excellent fighting skills, as per the spar with Basen, uh, could be true. Like you said, I don't remember which character uh, projects the fact. I think it might have been Maomao thinking that he could be the Emperor's guard or the Emperor's personal servant, you know. So the Emperor's guard thing, I think, might have weight. So that's what I'm trying to indicate here. Ma clan's blood. No clue what this refers to yet, but Basen apparently has it. Jinshi knows about it and uses it in a complimentary way. And it seemed like Gao Shun grinned a bit when Jinshi mentioned it to Basen. So, again, something I'm keeping an eye out for. Made a note about it so that if I have to search it up later, that what I thought about it previously, I'll have it in my notes. Otherwise, not sure what it means. Seems like a good thing, though. When I was writing my notes, I was so ready to go on about how the palace servant was able to seduce the military guy due to Jinshi and his request for an aphrodisiac, as I thought I was cracking the case. I think I totally missed the fact that Maomao herself has a flashback on Jinshi asking for it, and Xiaolin flat out saying it was the aphrodisiac. I'm so raring for my conspiracy theories to be proven right, I'm starting to miss what's happening right in front of my face. It still leaves the question as to why, however. The fact remains that one of Jinshi's early tasks was to ensure the loyalty of the palace guards by tempting them and ensuring that they do not act upon it. Intentionally hooking up one of the girls with a military officer would seem to be the complete opposite of that intent. So it still leaves questions into my mind about why and what is going on with this. I could be, again, I'm making mountains out of molehills, but I'm going to be staring at those molehills until something happens. We know that the show uses direction as clue in previous episodes, so that the trash pit that the eunuch talked about was there could imply who is sending the messages. Unfortunately, I'm not sure about the locations of anything in the rear palace. I would say that the highest chance of any guess would be the location of the four consorts, as we see, as it seems likely that each one resides in a part of the rear palace near each side. I think I forgot to mention here that I was talking about the fact that they say that the trash pile was at the rear west. So that's what I meant by indication. I want to say that Gyokyu is on the east side, as Fuyu was observed dancing on the wall near the east gate as Maomao was leaving her space. Although, actually, now that I think about it, sorry, I'm putting this together in my mind now. If they could see Fuyu dancing on the east gate as they were leaving Gyokyo's palace area, wouldn't that indicate that Gyokyo is probably on the west side? Because you'd have to be leaving from the west side to be able to see up to the east gate, right? I think that makes sense. So actually, maybe my suspicion of Gyokyo is back on. Anyway, at the same time, my mind wanders back to what her servant girl said about Gyokyo being a princess from a foreign land, and her admiration of Fuyu's ability to go home with the man that she loved. And while I cannot remember it being said, I feel like the implication was that it was somewhere southwest. Gyokyo's homeland, I mean, not where Fuyu went. Again, it's either lack of information on my end, misinformation I'm feeding myself, or I'm overcomplicating things. If they are actively searching for people with burns on their arms, looking for people that could be sending coded messages with specially treated wood, then I cannot help but think that there is a chance that Maomao, despite being in the clear from suspicion on Jinshi's part, could easily catch the ire of anyone checking her right arm, as again, beneath that bandage is apparently a confusing mess of abuse. Having one of the consorts surrounded by servants with hidden pockets in their clothing is a surefire sign to arouse suspicion if something were to happen. I can see the good in what is being done if you assume nothing negative is on its way, but I feel like the show is sprinkling in hints of a greater conspiracy between every happy moment. Sometimes lacking that, you just need to, they just need to remind you of the world Maomao lives in, such as why she wears fake freckles. The show carries a happy appearance in the midst of greater suffering, kind of like Ascendance of a Bookworm, when the priests turn from Mind's greatest hope to a major threat to her family. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop here. Something that seems off to me, that I hope the show covers at some point, is how Maomao is so much more knowledgeable than all of these high-ranking officials. Like, almost all of the time. Quack Doctor is outdone by her all the time. The Emperor's seamstress and cook have to come to her to learn how to make orange and ginger candy or sew pockets. It either belays a level of incompetence in the royal palace, or possibly the search for a fall guy when something happens, so everyone can point their fingers at Maomao. I didn't notice this at first, but around 13 minutes and 45 seconds into the episode, we see someone unwrapping their left forearm near a fire, and it's covered in the same marks that Maomao's forearm is. Except this clearly isn't Maomao. The hands seem older, and the robe has a frill around it that none of Maomao's clothing has. And yes, I was watching the entire episode looking for the clue we get from the trash guy who said, "Woman's dress, bottom of the sleeves burnt." So this was at least a clue towards that. Seemed to be a reddish robe with frills on the end, looking for someone wearing that in the future. And I've got here, note from the future. The color could have been an effect of the firelight the character was in, as I didn't spot anyone with that color of robe the rest of the episode. However, Lady Lihao and Lady Lishu's servants wear robes with frills like that. Adu's ladies all kept their hands together, hiding the ends of their robes. Gyokyo's ladies in waiting have solid ends, although Gyokyo's own robes have frills on them. And maybe it's just my continued suspicion of her coming to the surface again. But who is the least likely person to be searched for burns but one of the 4 main concubines? Not for nothing, but the woman on Li Shu's right, when she's greeting Jinshi, looks pissed for some reason. Another future note. The person hidden in shadow at the end of the episode, messing with the food, has the same hair curl as her. That doesn't immediately mean anything, though. Back when Maomao was telling her brothel story during the Fuyu episode, I tried matching the hairstyles of the shadows in that story to the people on the board. And you know what? A lot of people in this show have the same hairstyles, or hair adornments that create the same hairstyles. So finding out that more than one person has a stray lock of hair flowing down their right side would not be surprising. I mean, the show certainly could pull red herrings. It's built up enough base conspiracy theory for me that some red herrings I feel like would have to be involved. Mao's observation about cosmetics makes me think back to a previous statement she made. If love makes a woman beautiful, what kind of medicine would it make? And now we have cosmetics aren't just for making a face more beautiful. I feel like there's going to be a lot of tie-in message one-liners that we could connect together. Rewatching the super touching scene between Jinshi and Maomao a third time, because I just had to, conspiracy me started to creep up. And I had to wonder if his "I'm sorry" at the end wasn't directed at his inability to protect people like her, but was actually regret for something that was to come that he may have already decided to do before hearing her story. His passing her the hairpin just suddenly felt like a mark, something to point her out to someone else looking for such a thing. I don't know. It feels off. But also, using a moment of such heart would be the most underhanded moment to slip in something like that, when most of your audience is focused on just how touching a scene it is, to make it also the not evil turn. Again, he could be using her for a good purpose against her will. I don't know. It's just what it felt like. Like, he's slipping her a mark, leading back to my previous theories about Maomao being fingered as a fall guy for something. That he could be like, oh, I'm about to throw her under the bus, and then hearing her sob story, and he's like, oh, God, what am I doing? I'm sorry, and then still doing it. That's what it feels like to me might be happening. I thought I had another note, but I think this was just a note for me while I was watching the episode and taking notes, because I just wrote down woman's dress, bottom of the sleeves burnt, to remind myself to look at for the whole episode. And as I already noted, did not find it, so, but that makes sense. Because you remember back in like the first episode when Maomao wrote the note to the two and wrote it on her dress, and her dress was torn the rest of the episode. I don't feel like anybody but her would have done that. Like, no one's going to keep walking around wearing burnt sleeves on their shirt, or on their robes, right? So, I guess it didn't make much sense to keep an eye out for that, as we did. Anyway, those were my notes, so nothing left to do here but to hop into the episode and see what happens with the garden party.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
It is a very good opening, though. Unfortunately, as we all know, my subtitles do not let you know what they're singing about. Immediately gone. I suppose there's also an element, if I was any good with, I keep wanting to say herbalism. If I was any good with, like, flowers and whatnot, these are still animated flowers. I still might not be good at recognizing things that I do know. But you see, real Mao on the right, or I guess fake Mao on the right, and dream Mao on the left. Because, this is the Mao that's getting past the light, but this is also the Mao that doesn't have the freckles. So calling real Mao, the one on the right, being the one that's actually fake because she's putting clay on her face. But this Mao certainly does not act the way the Mao that we're used to seeing is. So is this the Mao that she wishes she could be? And this is the Mao that reality has forced her to be? Oh, was that a callback to the cotton flower thing? So I'm guessing that was the little girl? Consort of Virtue, or what it was? Virtuous Consort? Lishu, I believe. Oh, so what was that? Ao Dao? Ao Dao also has a child? No, never mind. That's out there. I don't know who we were seeing with the kid a second ago. I'm definitely gonna have to go back and rewatch that. I don't know who's holding the kid. Oh, there we go. An inappropriate age, I'm guessing.
皇太后様には主上様と弟君2人の巫女がいらっしゃってね。弟君はとても病弱でほとんど自宅から出られないって噂なの。先ほどまでいらっしゃったみたいだけど。
I think we talked about this in like episode 2.
次女ってのは主人に仕えるものよ。無駄に着飾ってどうするのよ。聞いた今の。次女の見た目が悪いと苦労するのは主人なのにね。あの次女たち、リファ様の。
Yeah, didn't you already have a fight with them?
ま、あの仕込めを雇ってるくらいだし、仕方ないか。仕込め？私のことか。
Wait, am I getting confused with Lee Hao with the blue one? They call her ugly if they saved her life.
気づいてないのか。水晶宮ではあんなに仲良くしてたのに。
Yeah, no, it is them.
お父様に言いつけてやるんだから。なら言いつけられない体にしてやろう。お、義女流の冗談だったんだけどな。
Oh, scary.
何よ急に黙って。もうこのくらいにしといてあげる。
She only picked on that one.
何なのよもう。で、マオマオ大丈夫？本当はこんなに可愛いのに。気にしてません。それよりカイロを変えなくてよろしいですか？不幸な身の上に加え、自ら顔を汚すほど男性不信なのに。
Okay, I misunderstood the pocket warmer thing. I thought there were pockets to hold like the candies. Are they like holding those warmed up rocks in them?
私たちにまで気を使って。心優しい人士様が気にかけるのもうなずけるわ。また何か妄想しているな。立場もわきまえられないの？こういう桃色の衣だなんて。代理戦争があっちでも。徳妃と淑妃の次女ね。あそこも仲悪いのよね。
I mean, we have to learn about these two at some
弱い
point.
14で若輩の徳妃と弱い35で古参の淑妃だもの。そりも合わないわよ。それに元嫁姑だし。嫁姑？ちょっと複雑なんだけど、お二人はもともと選定の妃と
Well, this is gonna be something to put on the board.
関係だったの。だけど選定が崩御されたでしょ。選定の妃は一度出家して、その後今の帝の妃として戻ってきたの。選定の崩御が5年前。当時淑妃であるアード王妃は弱い30、徳妃であるリーシュ妃は弱い9つか。政略とはいえ9つで妃とは。
Again, not great to hear.
お姑さんなんて。9つの姑？姑？ああ、選定の妃だったのはリーシュ様？
That's worse. Well, I guess that's trust.
あれが幼舅。見てわかったと思うけど、徳妃リーシュ様はまだ幼いのよね。
I don't know if I put mother-in-law as direct relation on my board.
あの濃い桃色。明らかに忌避である玉葉様と被ってる。空気の読めない子なのかな。あ
カイロ、助かったわ。またお願い。
はい。
I mean, you made extras, so.
寒いなら持っておくといい。おい。おい。
There is an element that these people believe in curses, so.
お人よしね。水晶宮の次女にも分けていいかなんて。
玉葉様にも許可をもらうんだもの。
はあ。かんざし？
ああやって花の園に隠れた優秀な人材を勧誘するのよ。
へえ。
まあ違う意味もあるんだけどね。
そうですか。
違う意味もあるんですってば。
I mean, it seems pretty obvious.
これをどうぞ、お嬢さん。
Well, you're pretty well animated to be not a nobody.
皆に配っているのか。どうも。
俺、リハクって言うから。
Oh, you have a name too.
大型犬。
ワンワン。
それもらったの？見せて見せて。
参加賞ですが。
それだけでは寂しいでしょ。お久しぶりね。
お久しゅうございます。
用事はこれだけ。リファ様。
She could have a hair just covered in pins.
これは玉葉様。すねるどころじゃないかもね。
かんざしどうするの？
I mean, I enjoy it from an aesthetic perspective. I don't know what to deal with it from a political situation.
こうしてみるとなかなか。思ったよりお偉いさんなのか。やはり武漢に混ざっても違和感がない。おい、さっきの武漢も末席だが年齢を考えると出世頭か。あのキラキラした宦官はいないけど、ま、どうでもいい。お、それより毒味だ。接触部分に曇りはない。匂いも異常なし。けど演下するまでがっと組の仕事。あとは真水で口を。
Well, people.
毒味役の命なんてあってないような。
Do you think the idea is that the other food tasters don't know their jobs as well? So they're actually just fucking scared?
内臓をうまくスープに忍ばせて、あの舌先がしびれる感じがたまらないんだよな。集中。このナマス、帝の好物だよ。
I think that's the stuff we saw in the next time on.
いつもなら青魚が使われてるけど、今日はクラゲか。帝の食を預かる小食が好物の具材を間違えるはずがない。玉葉様も好き嫌いは特にないし、さては配膳を間違えたの？
Oh, and then to the start of the episode, that she doesn't like it.
魚苦手なのか。 帝の手前残すわけにもいかないよな。
Wow.
嫌なものを見た。
Her own food taster is working against her.
見たかリハク。やたら威勢のいい毒味役がいるぞ。
怯えながら食事する姿なんて見て何が面白いんだ。
いいから見てみろよ。
Seems like a romantic interest or something.
さっきのジョーちゃんか。
I think there's all okay. The opening scene makes more sense now. That's literally what she does with her tongue in the opening dance. Maybe it's what other people see of her. It's represented by the opening.
毒です。
キキのスープに毒？毒なんて本当なのか？毒味薬は飲んでいただろう。大臣、何を？
清掃は窮屈だな。おい、大臣がスープを飲んで倒れたぞ。薬屋。
That's why they don't have guards back there, because I would be suspicious of somebody who did
薬屋。
rush off after proclaiming poison.
jinshi様。
ご機嫌はそっちだろ。
しまった。毒に浮かれてつい笑いかけたみたいに。何をするのですか？
医務室へ向かう。
毒なら吐き出しました。体に異常もありません。本当はあのまま飲み込みたかったけど、そしたら今頃毒が全身を巡って。
She is the antithesis of me. That's all the shit I'm literally worried about in the next few weeks.
スープをください。
お前バカだろ。
向上心が強いと言ってください。
お前が出て行った後、本当に毒入りかと飲んで倒れたやつもいるんだぞ。
誰ですか？その。
Yeah, I mean, that was fucking stupid.
大臣だ。おかげで余計
I was wondering how the minister got poisoned, if she was tasting it.
ならこれを使ってください。嘔吐薬です。胃がひっくり返るほどよく吐けるように作りました。
もはや毒だろ。
新しいかんざし。宦官もかんざしをもらうのか。そういえば襟も少し乱れてる。いつものキラキラさもない。遠石で姿を見ないと思ったらそういうことか。
See, the element that Maomao doesn't exactly know what's going on makes it hard for me to trust her readings on things.
だいぶ幼く見える。こちらの方がまだいいな。
効く。さすが宮廷医局の薬。
大丈夫か？
はい、もう何も出ません。
では話を聞こうか。誰が玉葉妃に毒を盛ったのか。
I mean, there was the one person who looked really unhappy about it all.
誰だ？
特妃、リーシュ様を呼んでいただけませんか？
ジンシ様、私に何のご用でしょう？
このような無粋
Yeah,
な
literally
申
her
し訳ありません。
on the right
お
hand
呼び
side.
立てしたのはこちらの次女でして。
次女が？
Uh-oh, we're looking for Burns. Frills. Red. Ah, I did call it right.
食べられないのは魚介ですか？
Called it right. Got the wrong person somehow
ど
still.
ういうことなんだ？
人によっては食べられないものがあるんです。かくいう私もそばが食べられません。
毒は平気で食らうのにか？
ほっといてください。
Oh wait, no, I called it wrong.
食
Sorry.
べられるよう
She's in
努力しま
hives.
した。
Allergic reaction.
しかし、
Not the
監視が
burns.
狭まり、呼吸困難になりました。 少量でも発疹が出るので量の調節が難しく治りが遅い。食べられないとはそういうことです。リーシュ様、お腹の調子は大丈夫ですか？よければ下剤を。
なんでわかったの？
園遊会の食事は
So your fucking
明
food
らかに
taster is
航
all
空側が用
giddy
意した
about
も
the
ので
fact
し
that you
た。
were suffering.
ですが、いつもとナマスの具材が違ったので、何かの手違いで玉葉様とリーシュ様のお食事が入れ替わったのでしょう。
そう。
食べられないものはサバですか？これは好き嫌い以前の問題です。今回はジンマシンで済みましたが、時に呼吸困難を引き起こします。知っていて与えたのなら毒を盛るのと同じことです。
Man, she looked pissed from the first time we saw her, so something was up there.
あなた、毒味役の方でしたね。
はい。
万が一の場合、注意事項をまとめておきました。もちろん、取らないのが一番ですが。ご確認ください。難しいことはありません。しかし、一つ間違えれば、遺憾であろうと対処できないこと。命に関わる問題であること。夢忘れないようにしてください。
I feel like this is a circumstance of somebody low on the totem pole trying to get back at somebody higher up, and then Maomao smacking them back into place that you can't do that.
下船のものゆえ、お手を触れないでいただけますか？
そんなことを言うのはお前くらいだ。
では皆気を使っているのですね。では、玉葉様に報告がありますので。
待て、なぜ毒味役の次女をわざわざ同席させた？
何のことでしょう？
とぼけるな。呼べと言っただろう。
注意事項を伝えるためです。
では、配膳の者が間違えたというのか？
一階の次女にはわかりません。
これくらいは答えてくれ。狙われたのは特費。
Bill was just intentionally trying not to get people in trouble for some reason.
他の皿に毒が入っていなければ。
そうか。
Does that imply that Kinnen knew that that dish was going to be poisoned and switched it out so that she wouldn't have to deal with the poison, even if it made Lishu suffer?
先日の木簡の件とやはり関わりがあるのでしょうか。先ほどの次女に火傷の跡はありませんでしたが。
一体誰が？
See, I'm just waiting for that all to backfire on Maomao. I don't mean backfire. I don't know what the correct term I'm looking for here is. To blow up in Maomao's face. Only specifically if they can't find anybody with burns on their arms. Maomao has burns on her arms, it looks like, so the absence of finding any other guilty party, you kind of, I assume, have to go with the only person you have with any evidence to suggest it. God, I love them as ending credits singers. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to have more notes about this one, because very specifically, there's an element here of the last time on, we saw them messing with the food before this episode, and now there's an element of they switched out the food, and they were grinning about it. But the element is, if they are the ones who switched around the food, then they switched around the food to something that directly harmed the person that they were working for. Which I don't know how that plays out. except for the element of the opening of the show, showing us the entire just eat it, it's not going to kill you thing. Oh, well. Sorry, sometimes I spot things in the next time on where I'm like, oh, I'm a genius, or oh, I figured out what's about to happen. And then they kept going. So it's like, oh, wait, the zoom in on like this part of the face with the old white hair. It's like, wait a second, isn't that her dad from the first episode? I figured it out. And then it's like, nope. Then we just say homecoming and then show him in a full on vision. So it's like, oh no, I didn't figure anything out. They just showed it to show everything. I guess there is going to be an aspect though of them going over the hidden messages again, because clearly at the very end of this episode, Jinshi is still dealing with that as a problem. Although there's a lot of shocked faces from him there, and it's hard to tell if that is regarding what seems to be the main plot point of the hidden messages still going on, or, as always happens, there's just a lot going on in the episodes that he could be shocked about. Like, why is there homecoming? Is Jinshi actually... Sorry, I paused for a moment because I'm now recalling the fact that I had this whole thing set up that Jinshi may have been setting her up for a fall, and that didn't happen, which means that I just put him in an entirely bad light for no reason, and it turns out that he might actually just be sorry that she's had to live this sort of life. And now homecoming is a reward for good service or something? Like, hey, we're still gonna keep you working here, but we're gonna take care of the kidnappers and let you see your friends and family again. I don't know, I just feel like that's what's happening there. Also, I believe that was Gao Xiong escorting her there, which means that she has a rear palace escort, it feels like. I don't know. There's a lot going on in this episode that I'm also going to have to, again, the notes. It all comes back to the notes because I am blissfully ignorant and blind when it comes to the first viewings of things. Just enough to know that I'm missing something, not enough to recognize the thing that I'm missing. Also, again, the trust to let Maomao hold the baby. I understand that she has all these people's lives in her hand and that she solves these medical mysteries that keeps them all going, but still, she is the lowest of the ladies in waiting, and they still let her hold the baby, which is, it's vital, I feel like. Alright, well, that's all my thoughts about the episode so far. We, of course, have the extra bit, the added next time on segment, Maomao's notes, Maomao's thoughts, something like that. So let's go ahead and hop on into that and see what's going on there.
Maomao no Hitorigoto.
Yeah, I assumed it was going to be about allergies.
食べられないものは毒味薬をもすり抜ける毒になるということか。ここでマオマオの豆知識。食べられないもの以外でも鮮度の落ちた魚を食べるとジンマシンが出ることもあるらしい。異常がある場合、自己判断せずすぐに医者に診てもらうのが英断だろう。しかし、なぜリーシュ妃が狙われたんだ?
Unless you were targeting former associations to the previous emperor.
まだニヤニヤと全部吐き出しきれなかったか。
I'll never be on that train.
高級に来て初めてありつけた毒だ。忘れないように。
もう一度医務室に行くぞ。誰にもらったんだ。まさか今にやけているのは。
Well, that's interesting.
変色や匂いはなかった。
フミか？誰かにフミを書いているのか。
そういえばとても柔らかかった。
柔らか？一体何の話を？
あ？何をされているのですか?
This is very interesting.
次回、里帰り。李白様に急接近?
今なんて言った?
I would think, obviously there can't be any, there shouldn't probably be any, jealousy from Jinshi regarding Liao's, hair thing. Sorry, my brain just collapsed on itself. So it must be, obviously, Li Cao's, hair thing. And maybe the jealousy is that he's either higher ranking in the Emperor's Court than Jinshi is, or he's not a eunuch, and maybe that's an element of jealousy. Yeah, hairpin. Maybe that's the element of jealousy is that now Jinshi is going to be competing against a guy who's not a eunuch. And sorry, it's the element that she's into throwing up all the time and tasting the poisons and whatnot. My throat has been operated on like about 4 times now, I think. Throwing up is it's not such the dealing with throwing up part, it's the inability to open the airway again to take another breath. So every time I would throw up, it'd be like passing out. It is, I don't know. And again, I'm on edge because those new medications that I'm going to be taking next week are literally nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, all that shit. All that good shit you guys all want to hear about, I'm sure. But literally, ever since all these throat operations, greatest fear is now going to be new reality. So, seeing how into it she is so weird now to me. But yeah, no, I mean, this is pretty good next time on, in that it connects a lot of things I've been thinking about from the episode and previous episodes, along with the, hey, be careful of fish that's gone bad. It's a good little message, and I think it also indicates towards the idea that a food tester, or I guess even the personal doctor in this case, has to be on the lookout for more than just the obvious things that would poison them. Because obviously if the person that they're working for gets poisoned and dies, that they've lost their job too, and probably are on the chopping block for some pretty harsh punishments. But, yeah, if you're not aware of what the person you're tasting for is allergic to, and that allergy causes them to die, I feel like you're doing just as bad of a job as not finding the poison to begin with. So, that is an interesting addition to things to be concerned about, especially if the person who's trying to kill you is aware of the things that you're allergic to, when the people around you might not be. So, something to keep an eye out for in the future, I guess. God, I feel like I should be keeping, like, on the board, little, like, sub-notes next to each character, allergic to fish and whatnot, so that I can keep track of who knows this information, so that they could then act upon it. Maybe that's something from my notes, because that's what I typically do, that's why I keep such long notes, is that I can also just, like, Control F, type a word, and see when did I make a note about this before, so I can cross-reference about what I'm currently jotting notes down about now. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the case here. Just going to have to do that when I take my notes again for this episode. That said, I think that is everything, though, for Apothecary Diaries today. Once again, I have been Theta, this has been Stone-Faced Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?